Welcome, everybody, back to the Financial Advisors Workshop. This is where we attempt to talk to top financial advisors in our industry and get ideas from each other, work together, collaborate, and learn how everybody built their practice and how we can all get better by learning from each other. So today, we have a really great advisor who's been around the street a little bit, learned a lot of different things, and now settled in with an independent shop that he's one of the leaders of. Justin Makris. Justin, welcome to the Financial Advisor Workshop.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it, Brian. And yeah, Justin Makris. I'm an advisor and partner over at Wealth Design Group. We're affiliated with Park Avenue Securities as well. So yeah, super excited to just start this conversation.
Well, good. Well, we had some interesting discussion in the pre taping about how you developed, and you started out interning to learn about the industry, and then at one firm for a few months, another firm longer. Give us a little background on that.
Yeah. So I was in college. This was like 06, 07, 08. I was at Baylor University in Waco, Texas, and just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I don't have any family in this background or anything like that. My mom owns a retail store. My dad owns like a little pressure washer business, him and like one other person. And so I did an internship with a company called Capstone Asset Management, with that at the time was a really, really successful like money management planning company here in Houston. Just a relationship I had with the owner's daughter. We just went to high school together. We were friends, and I thought it was awesome. I was like, yo, I love this. I definitely want to be in the world of investing. Then I just wanted to figure out like what side of it I wanted to be on. Do I want to be more of an analyst? Do I want to do money management, or do I want to be a planner and do more like client facing, right? So I chose client facing, graduated, worked for Raymond James really just for a couple months, because then I got an offer from Morgan Stanley, which is who I at the time thought was the best company and who I really wanted to work for. So once I got that offer, I started working with them for a couple of years. And then, yeah, Brian, as I mentioned to you before we got started, after working with them for quite some time, I started to see there was a little disconnect in the way that I wanted to be able to help my clients and also the way that they approach investing. The structure of the company is in a way that it makes it sometimes difficult to feel like you're able to do what's in your client's best interest. Yeah. And I don't believe in the way that they invest. I don't really believe that there's anybody on this planet, including myself, that knows what stock you should pick versus what stock you shouldn't pick, and when you should get in versus when you should get out. In fact, if you look at the best money managers in the world, they outperform the market, 7% of the time, approximately, according to Dalbar. And it's a different 7% every year, right? That's why companies have thousands of fund managers. They know some will do well and they'll promote the heck out of those. And the ones that don't, they just get rid of, right? Right. So I didn't share this story with you, Brian, but I'll share it now. So really where it clicked for me is there would be a money manager that would come and buy us lunch every day. And I was, fresh out of college, broke. So I'll take every free lunch I can get. Yeah. So someone came in and, they're from New York and, they've got some amazing pedigree. They went to Penn or Harvard and they're this great money manager and they have this great track record and they were bullish on the market, right? They inferred that the market was going to go up over the next however much time. And they said, all right, that sounds smart. These guys are smart. The evidence is great. Okay, got it. And then literally the very next day, someone comes back also from New York or Chicago or wherever, and they also have an amazing Ivy League degree, and they've got this great track record, almost identical to the other group, and they're bearish on the market. They think it's going to go down. And I was like, oh, that's when it kind of finally clicked. Oh, I get it. Nobody has any idea what they're talking about. They have information and then they're making an assumption. And so that's when I was like, I've got to make a switch. Like I said to you, I almost got out of the business entirely because I kind of thought it was all a sham. I was so blessed to meet the owner of Wealth Design Group and founder at the time, Rick Ray. I met my current partner, Mark Conley, who was just a top advisor there at the time. The rest is history. I've been with them now for 10 plus years.
Nice. So now you mentioned when you came over, you kind of started from scratch. Like you brought a few clients, but not many, right? And how did that?
Yeah, it was tough, obviously, but it was just something that I really wasn't concerned about because I really wanted to make this work for me as a profession. I love this industry and I love the profession itself. I'm obviously biased, but I think there's nothing better. Not only do you have unlimited income, not only do you control your time, but you're actually helping people in a way that's profound. I mean, money is a big thing. It's family, it's religion, and it's money. Those are like the hot topics, right? So I didn't really care. I said, you know what? I'm going to give this a shot. I did the old school route. I joined organizations, did a bunch of cold calling, went out and just met as many people as I could. I think the biggest advantage that I had was one of the other advisors, Dale Pieper, who's actually one of my partners now as well. We joined Harris County Medical Society, which is a doctor group here in Houston, and just cold called out of the book and set meetings and ran them through our process. And that's really kind of how we built our business, was just kind of old school cold calling.
Nice. And you built up to over 100 million now. So
yeah, and actually since we spoke, it's actually closer to 125. I've had a great year.
Wow.
And that's for me individually. The group itself, Wealth Design Group, now is close to 400 million. So that's really Mark, Dale, myself, and the rest of our advisors.
Right. Wow. So this is a lousy year for the market. So how did you grow this year?
Well, I mean, I have been really committed to a program that we've been developing for quite some time with this money manager, Matson Money, that we work with out of Scottsdale.
Okay.
And give you a little background. They're one of the main reasons I decided to work with Wealth Design Group, because Wealth Design Group was starting a relationship with them. And Matson Money is a unique place, not only in the way that they approach investing, but the fact that they choose to not work with wirehouses, which seems crazy, because if they put their funds on platform with Fidelity and Merrill and Morgan, they'd have, they have close to 10 billion right now, but they'd have, hundreds of billions, right? Because their performance is amazing. Right. But they believe in coaching, just like we believe in coaching. And they believe in actually educating people and understanding how investing works, not just the math and the science, but all the behavior and all the biases and all the Wall Street bullies that work against us, right? So they have been developing this program for about 7 years. And then we're co-branded with them now to actually help develop and lead the program for the past 3 years. So I've been in a ton of training on that, which has not only helped my conversations with clients, but we've also been having these workshops. So every single really month to 2 months, depending on if Matson Money's leading them in Scottsdale or if we're leading them here in Houston, we'll get anywhere from 30 to 50 clients do a 2-day workshop with us called the American Dream Experience. And it is, in my opinion, the most profound thing people can do around the world of investing. There's no product that's sold. There's no enrollment. Okay, now you got to sign up, do this. It's straight education, but it's designed in such a way that not only do people walk away understanding the world of investing, like not only I get it now, but they walk away with real freedom, real fulfillment, and just real peace of mind around their money. And not a peace of mind that, I feel good when markets are up, right? No, a peace of mind that lasts. So when markets are down, not only do they find themselves finding more money to invest, right? Because they get the concept of it recovering, but they stay with me. They don't panic. They don't leave, So I would attribute the training and the American Dream Experience really to the reason we've had so much success over the past couple of years, because we've really had a breakthrough. I mean, I've rolled over 42 million this year, and that's like double the best year I've ever had. Wow. So and our company's rolled close to 60. It's been not the experience of some of our colleagues. A lot of them are struggling because it has been a down year and people are, scared. But we're really having a breakthrough in our business. And I attribute a lot of that to the development that we're getting in that training.
Training.
And the training is done by a company called Vanto Group.
Group? Okay.
Vanto with a V. Yeah,
Okay.
Steve Zaffron, who's the founder of Vanto Group, he's worked with companies all over the world. He's worked with countries. I mean, he's worked with all these different amazing organizations, and he's partnered with Matson Money to develop us to co-lead this thing called the American Dream Experience, so that eventually you'll have 50 to 100 advisors across the entire country and Canada and Puerto Rico leading this event to create a critical mass around what is the American Dream Experience as an event and the impact it has on investors.
So are the clients, they're part of the meetings,
Mm-hmm.
and they get comfortable with a long-term approach and then your view of it as well. And
You
they
got it.
get great. So do you bring prospects in too, and then they get comfortable? No.
Totally. Yeah. It's a combination. It'll be people that have been clients of mine forever. My commitment is I want every one of my clients, and my goal by December 31st, 2024 is to have 90% of all my clients attend, whether they're brand new or they've been clients for 10 years. Right. So it's current clients that come. It's current clients that have all their money with me, and it's current clients, we call it dark money, that have their money still somewhere else, right? Or part of it. And then it's brand new people. It's brand new people we meet off the streets, introductions we receive. You know, a lot of my young advisors are still cold calling and still doing Zoom info. You know, we've got a whole crew of people that are trying to build their own practices. So it's a mixed match of people, which that's also by design, because you want there to be a different person in the room, because you want it to land and also not land for certain people. So there's conversations, because it's really not a 2-day lecture. It's really a 2-day conversation of, all right, how does this work? Why is it not working for you? Why does it work for some people? You know?
Mm-hmm. And the basic idea on investing, is it based on asset allocation or just long-term thinking, relative strength? Is there kind of a theme to how they do it?
Theme of the American Dream Experience, or theme of the way we approach investing?
Investing.
So investing, the way we approach it is we will never recommend anything that is not it's not an academic principle that has been empirically tested. So another way of saying that is, if you haven't won a Nobel Prize, if it hasn't been something that's proven in the data for 50, 60, 70, 80 years, we don't use it. So I can tell you exactly how we do it. So we use efficient market hypothesis as the foundation. So we get flat on, okay, do you believe in free markets? Do you believe in capitalism? Do you believe that markets will always go up? Do you believe that the price that it is today is set because all the knowable information is already into the price, right? So that's really efficient market hypothesis in a super quick summary. Is, do you think markets will always go up? Then we use Eugene Fama's, used to be a 3-factor model, now it's a 5-factor. I'll just focus on the 3-factor model to help us pick what asset classes we should own.
Okay.
So what Fama proved is, stocks pay 8% more than bonds relative, from the 1920s to now. So you should own more stocks than bonds. These are approximate numbers, by the way. Fama proved that small cap companies pay about 2% more than growth companies. So you should add small to your portfolio. He proved value companies, high book to market ratio companies pay about 4% more than growth companies. So you should add value to your portfolio. So with his Nobel Prize winning concepts, we identified 21 different asset classes that have been proven to pay a premium relative to risk. And then we bring it all together and use the godfather at all, right? Modern portfolio theory, Harry Markowitz.
Portfolio theory, right.
To actually help us engineer the portfolio, to figure out how much should go into small value, large value, so that you can fall on that Markowitz efficient frontier.
This sounds like University of Chicago stuff.
Yeah, well, all those guys are University of Chicago. In fact, Harry Markowitz is actually on the board of advisors at Matson Money, the money management firm that we work with.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and in the American Dream Experience, Mark Matson interviews actually both Harry Markowitz, but also Eugene Fama, which is very rare because Fama doesn't really do interviews with money managers, right? But there's so much alignment there, and they work together, at the EFA and different places, that there actually is a really cool interview with him that you really can only see if you come to the American Dream Experience. And it really creates such a sense of credibility of, okay, this is the economic concepts and this is how they're applied. So pretty powerful.
I'm a true believer.
There you go. That's it, man. Yeah, and my dad and I always joke, like, University of Chicago, and my stepmom's one of her, actually I think 2 of her siblings went there. It's as good, if not better, than any of the Ivy Leagues. University of Chicago is the real deal, like the real deal. Is that where you went?
We're ranked number 1 on and off the last 10 years, so maybe it's better.
Is that where you went to school?
Yeah, that's why I have that up there, yeah.
That's awesome, man. Dude, congratulations. Yeah, that's big time. That's amazing. Yeah, the
Thank
interview actually with Fama is at the University of Chicago. So it's cool. You see the campus.
Yeah.
They're in kind of around his office. Yeah, it's amazing.
That's great. Well, good. So you've got some good kind of background as to why you select what you do and education clients, so they know that you're not doing crazy things. You're doing good things for them and developing a great program, and they can trust you and believe that there's some moorings and some knowledge behind that. And then you get them involved in it. You get them to own the ideas, which is really great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What you said is so powerful because so at Wealth Design Group, our why we exist is to empower families to experience purpose, freedom, and abundance. Now, here's what's funny about that. We've been working with clients for 10 years and we want that. We wanted it since day one, right? But what we realized is even though we have clients that are happy and they have good returns and they've been working with us and made some money, when things get a little crazy, like this year, like 2020, they get nervous, they start to kind of panic and they start to get uncomfortable and they start to doubt, right? So what we realized was, okay, we are really not creating peace of mind and freedom for our clients. We're trying, but it's not working, right? So what we discovered is even though we acknowledge their trust, like I really am grateful for their trust, that's not where peace of mind lives. It lives with them discovering for themselves how the investing works, how the structure works. And so when they discover it, not only do they've got it and they don't have any more concern, but it also leads to a lot of introductions because they have such an impact doing the American Dream experience that they want to bring their friends and their colleagues and all that. So that's also helped the expansion in our business as well.
So I'm going to ask you a question I think I might already know the answer to, but we're in the kind of market where, first of all, on the downside, we get the panic calls. And then on the upside, we get the FOMO calls for the people that aren't fear they're missing out, right? So do you have a panic FOMO routine going, or is everybody pretty settled down?
It's pretty settled. Like, to give you some perspective, in 2020, when COVID hit and it was crazy, a single client, I only had one client that panicked and got out. Every single one of my clients, I now have 251 approximately, stayed. So to answer your question, I still get them, but they're few and far between. And a lot of that is the work that we do with the American Dream experience, but we also do coaching every month, right? So every single month we'll have a dinner coaching event or an online Zoom coaching event. And that's just to reinforce the concepts.
Right.
To reinforce, hey, don't stay disciplined. Everything's going to be fine. Next month next month is our American Dream experience in Houston, which you're more than welcome to come to. I can give you more details on that if you want.
Yeah.
And then, what were we going to say?
I said, yes. In fact, let us know, and any of our listeners who want to participate in, we'll make sure that we get them connected to you. Yeah,
there's actually, so we don't charge for the event. We say if you get here, obviously you can experience the event. We cover everything. We'll put you up in the hotel. It's September 8th. Let me make sure I get my dates right. And September 9th. The only criteria is we have to have an initial conversation prior. We call it the investor inventory, to just make sure that they're enrolled with integrity, making sure they're coming for the right reason. They're going to get out of the event what's available, because a lot of times people hear investment seminar, they're coming for tips and hints and stocks, and that's not what we do. So at the end of the day, we want to make sure they're coming for the right reasons. But yeah, if they're interested, I'll get them not only those dates, but we're setting up our dates for 2023 as well. Matt's Money also has dates in October, and then we do usually 1 to 2 Zoom events a year too, if people just don't want to travel.
Where in Houston are you? Are you near the Galleria area?
Yeah, we're actually right across the street from the Galleria. So I tell people, you see the Nordstroms, take a left, there's the guest parking. So we're literally right across the street.
And that's a very wealthy area of Houston. So
Galleria. The Galleria it's interesting. You've got all of Houston comes to the Galleria, so it's an amazing melting pot. You see everything, right? But the neighborhoods outside the Galleria, are very very nice neighborhoods. Yeah, you've got River Oaks, you got Tanglewood, you got all the nice areas right outside.
Post Oak Boulevard. Yeah,
we're right off Post Oak. We're 3040 Post Oak. Yeah,
nice. Well, good. So you got this great base, and I think the point what I was making, and I think our listeners have figured that out, is education and confidence is what you're building, and that's why you don't have the panic FOMO thing going on now in this bad market. Strange market, I guess. How it's bad or good, depending on how you look at it.
Perfect way to say it. Strange.
Strange time. But Then how do you service folks? Do you do marketing events? Do you do reviews every 6 months? What's the way the people live in your environment?
Yeah, ideally a quarterly review, whether it's either I'm doing it or one of our other advisors are doing it, depending on the cases and stuff, because we do want every one of our clients to be able to have access to an advisor. So if I'm out of town or circumstances or whatever, I'm obviously working with Mark and Dale to build our business. So my time is tight at times, right? So ideally a quarterly review, and then they're getting invites to every coaching event that we've got. Oh, that was the comment I was making. So September is our American Dream Experience. October, we're going to talk about the myths and truths of investing. November, we're going to talk about the difference between structured funds and index funds. That's a really unique conversation. And then in January, we're doing a conversation called Mind Over Money, which is really talking about kind of the Wall Street bullies, like how they really try to work against us and sell us things that we really don't need.
Right.
So,
yeah. And they scare you and they get you to do things you don't want to do. Exactly.
Oh yeah. They know exactly what they're doing. Right. I mean, look, I'm a big believer in capitalism. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but what I'm saying is the outcome for investors is normally not very good. Right. Mm-hmm. Again, using that Dalbar study, right? Average investor makes around 6 to 7%. The market, using like the S&P 500 as a reference, makes 10. Right. The other asset classes we mentioned make 11, they make 12, they make 14. So there's a massive gap between 7 and 10 and 7 and 14.
Oh boy. Yes. And the compounding is just unbelievable. The 1 or 2% is an enormous amount.
No, millions. Yeah. Hundreds of millions, depending on the amount of money you've got. Yeah. It's a massive number. And there's also that thing called peace of mind. So not only are you not getting the return you should, but then you're spending your life experiencing money, anxious and scarce and unstable and unsure, where that can just be gone. That doesn't have to exist for investors. Yeah,
absolutely. I noticed you're involved in a lot of outside activities, member of your church, Orthodox Society. So is that where you get a lot of client relationships, initial contacts, or through other sources?
So it's so funny. I don't get a ton through church until recently, actually. So we just got invited to manage what's called the AHEPA, which is a Greek organization, a Hellenic organization, locally here in Houston, not the national one. So that's coming. But I get a lot of them from like other social events and things that I do. So I join like car clubs. I'm into cars and stuff. You can probably see my background. I'm into car stuff. So different things. I mean, this is what I tell my young advisors, and I practice what I preach. You really should join some type of alumni association, even if you went to a community college. Like, just there's alumni associations everywhere, right? You should join some type of charitable association, and not because the rich people give to this charity, but like something you actually care about, right? I mean, like, people are going to see through your BS. The brain is really good at that, And the third is like something you're into. I'm into cars, right? If you're into cars, if you're into travel, if you're into movies, like just join things, organizations where you'll be around people like yourself, and then you'll find business, Yeah. So that's what I do, and that's what I recommend.
So okay, great. So once you meet people in different, however you meet them, and you tell them what you do and you engage them in a discussion, how long does it take? Do they usually need to get trained first through a series of meetings?
Yeah, walk you through my whole process. Yeah, beautiful question. So if I have a conversation with somebody and I think there could be an opportunity, I just say, hey, look, would you be open to having an initial conversation with me? Let's set up a little Zoom meeting or in person, 20 minutes. I'll get a feel of what you want. I'll walk you through a sample plan of the work that we do. And if you say you love it, we'll move forward. And if you say you got it, we're good. It's no big deal, right? So then we have an initial conversation. I'll identify goals, objectives. I'll make sure that we're a good advisor for them and vice versa, right? I'm interviewing them like they're interviewing us. Yeah. Then if they say, yeah, I'm ready to move forward, we really have 3 meetings after that. The second meeting is we actually will start to build their plan, because we do comprehensive planning. And I, Mark and Dale, myself used to do this meeting, but we've now actually brought in a certified financial planner. We have 2 now, Larry Mott and Matt Spencer, to actually help us now build their model. So now we don't have to run that meeting, and they get a better plan, to be honest with you, because Larry's got 33 years of experience and he has more time. Right. So then we build their plan. Then the third meeting, and we give them homework in between these meetings. Homework between meeting 2 and 3 is they watch our investment videos. Third meeting is I do what's called the MRI, which is the investment analysis of what they have. And I get them totally flat wouldn't say totally, but pretty clear on the way we approach investing so that they get it. We're not stock picking, we're not market timing, distinguishing those two worlds, right? We also talk about the way we use permanent insurance. That's a very unique strategy too. We use permanent insurance to replace bonds and cash, which is very unusual because, most investment companies, they just want you to buy term, invest the difference because that's how they make their money. And then most insurance companies want you to buy only permanent insurance because that's how they make their money, right? But the reality is one is not better than the other. They actually complement each other well because while one has risk in the market, the other has no risk. While one is taxable, the other's tax-free. While one's illiquid, the other's liquid. So we explain how they can complement. And then the fourth meeting is the recommendations where we'll actually put on paper, okay, based off your goals and objectives, what would we do if we were in your shoes in regards to everything? But then as we go through it, it's co-creative. So we'll say, okay, we want to tweak this, we want to change this, adjust the risk profile, do no permanent insurance, do more permanent, whatever they want to do, right? And so then we actually co-create their plan for them. And then they're a client, right? Then we bring them in, they do all the paperwork processing, and then ideally they do coaching forever. And at some point, I've enrolled them into the American Dream Experience, and hopefully they come to our next one or, whenever we've got one coming up.
Nice. Is American Dream Experience exclusive to your firm?
So it's exclusive to anybody who is a Matson Money advisor. Okay. So there's about 50 brand ambassadors across the country that are going to lead this event. And then there's, I think, maybe 400 Matson advisors. Now, 15 of those 400 are like at our company, right? So it's not a lot of companies that actually do it, But if you want to have access to the American Dream Experience, you've got to work with a Matson advisor.
Right. Nice. Well, good. So it's exclusive to Matson. Okay. I get that.
Which in theory makes it exclusive to us because we're partnered with them. And, so that's how that works.
So do you work also on other issues like financing, mortgages, real estate issues, things that traditional financial advisors do not work with?
No. Now let me caveat that. All of that does get built into the model. And Larry and Matt, who are the CFPs, they will work on what they can, right? But we're not attorneys, we're not banks, right? So if they need help financing, we'll make introductions. If they need help with estate planning document-wise, we'll structure with the attorney, we'll make the introductions, but we don't do any of that in-house. Okay. And that's really by design because if they don't like their relationship or they like it, they can keep it, right? We really just want to help them establish the plan, us focusing on the investments, the insurance, everything that goes into a plan. And then things like that, we will advise, build into the model, but not actually do ourselves.
Okay. Do you do anything different in bad markets like this?
No. Well, I guess you could say different than the traditional investor, which is we don't panic. But no, because at the end of the day, if we do believe in market timing doesn't work, which we do believe market timing doesn't work, actually what you should be doing in those times is just rebalancing the portfolio back to the appropriate allocation versus saying, well, you know what, we should maybe change to this, or we should maybe sell and hold in cash, or we should do this, or we should do that. No, we don't. Now, what's happening behind the scenes is there is a selling and a buying. There is a rebalancing happening, but it's not because we think it's a good time to buy this asset class or not. It's because the math and the science force us to make the transaction. But what you see is normally what's down is up. So interesting enough, last quarter, we sold a bunch of fixed income, bought a bunch of equities. Now equity's done great, right? So it almost always works itself out. But either way, you just stay disciplined during that time. So what I do is I make sure my clients are coming to coaching. I'm having conversations with each and every one of them so they're not panicking. And that is what results in the types of returns that we have, which are amazing and far better than what the Dalbar study is because we just don't panic. Nice.
And you collaborate with your other advisors in your firm, and then you have support people as well. So it sounds like a great model. So considering the fact that, about 300 financial advisors are probably going to see this in the near term and probably 1,000 over the next year, imagine that you're sitting in an auditorium, maybe at Baylor,
Okay.
You're on stage and you've got this entire group here and you have a chance to tell them, besides all the great things that you've told us now, like a message that you want to tell our colleagues in the industry. What would you say to them?
Oh man, there's so many great things. I would say something like, I think this is the source of my power, right? And the source of the success that our firms have. I would say you got to figure out what the purpose of yourself and your company is. And there's no right or wrong one. You got to figure out, like, what do you actually want to do? If you just want to be an advisor, that's not enough. You got to figure out, like, why are you going to get up? Why are you building this? Why are you even having these conversations? And like I said, we are committed to empowering families, my family, your family, their families, to experience purpose, freedom, and abundance. That's our why. It's in every conversation we have with clients. I even tell them in our opening meeting, that's our why. I'm just letting you know. It's in our training conversations. It's in everything. And when you start to develop something like that, a purpose, a why, then organically you'll make the right decisions in relation to that. You'll say, okay, does that empower people? Does that? Oh, it doesn't. I'm not going to do that. Does that give them freedom? No, it doesn't. Okay, I'm not going to do that. And I think foundationally, if you create that, you can do that at fresh out of college, your first year in practice, or you can do that. I've been doing this 35 years and I'm floundering, right? You create that, all the other things will take care of itself, right? And I would love to share the American Dream experience, and I'd love to share the way we approach investing and all that. But if you told me there's one thing that I'd leave them with, you got to figure out what that is, and then you build your business around that.
Build business around that. That's great. Leadership is direction. And it sounds like you have it, and you've done a great job. And interesting, your evolution from not being terribly happy with the industry to saying, okay, I'm going to figure this out. And
it was this industry's BS, and now I'm going to change the world. And I'm going to be honest with you. This sounds crazy, but I'm going to speak it into existence, right? I tell my partners all the time, I don't know if it'll be my generation, maybe my kids. I don't have any kids yet, but when I have kids, hopefully if I'm blessed with kids, maybe their generation. But I think Wealth Design Group and the way that we approach this, I think we'll put companies like Morgan Stanley out of business and Merrill Lynch out of business. And the reason I say that is because they don't create value anymore. Well, they still do, but once the world understands the education around investing, the fact that there's a whole nother world of investing they can choose that's based in math and science. Well, selling me things isn't going to get the job done anymore. So there's not going to be any more value. So at the end of the day, it went from thinking this whole industry is crazy to like, all right, well, let's just change it. and now we're going to do our own thing. So massive shift over the past 10 years for sure. And I'm just blessed, man. I love what I do. And I've got energy for days because of that why. Like I said, I'm moved by it every day. So that's what I would leave people with.
Well, you're a great inspiration, and thank you for sharing your life and your development with all of our listeners today in the Financial Advisors Workshop. I think our time is done, and we're going to leave it there. But thank you. We'll probably do a follow-up with you later on, and maybe we'll learn a little more about the network and other things that you're working on. But thanks for being with us today, Justin. And thanks to all our listeners for being with us. We'll be back with another great episode here very shortly. Thanks again, everybody, for being on the Financial Advisors Workshop, a 4-star podcast and video series. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Brian.